In top news today, Papua New Guinea has seen a historic ruling after an accusation of sorcery led to a conviction. The South Australian government has appointed a new Commissioner for Aboriginal Children and Young People. And a report from a summit in New South Wales calls for greater support for Aboriginal community-controlled services to address drug and alcohol issues. More on that later. In a historic ruling, Papua New Guinea's National Court has convicted James Munn under the Klasman Act, sentencing him to 5 years in prison for accusing 39-year-old Lorna Nico of sorcery, an accusation that led to a brutal murder in front of her young daughter. This is the first conviction under the 2022 Act for merely making sorcery an accusation, as the law holds accusers accountable even if they are not present during the crime. Sorcery-related violence remains a major crisis in PNG, with an estimated 700 people tortured or killed each year, primarily women. Advocates and legal experts view the ruling as a crucial step in dismantling harmful superstitions and holding perpetrators accountable, with 86 similar cases now before the courts. Authorities, including Prime Minister James Marape, have called for greater education and awareness to eliminate these violent practices. The South Australian government has appointed Dale Agus as its new Commissioner for Aboriginal Children and Young People, succeeding April Laurie after her 2 terms in the role. Agus, a Kaurna, Narungga, Ngarrindjeri and Ngarrindjeri man with over 2 decades of experience in strategic leadership and advocacy, aims to continue Laurie's work, particularly in implementing recommendations from the Holding On to Our Future report. Laurie, known for her strong leadership, led the inquiry into the application of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Children Placement Principle. South Australian MP Blair Boyer praised Agus's extensive experience and commitment to community advocacy. Agus will commence his 3-year term on April 5th. Jack Stephen James Brealey, on trial for the murder of 15-year-old Noongar Yamaji boy Cassius Turvey, has told a court it was his co-accused Brodie Lee Palmer who struck Cassius with a metal pole, while he only punched the teenager. Cassius died 10 days after the October 2022 attack in Perth's eastern suburbs. Brealey claimed he acted in self-defence after Cassius allegedly stabbed him with a knife. He testified that Palmer later threatened him into silence, warning that he and the co-accused, Alicia Louise Gilmore, would be killed if they spoke to police. Prosecutors allege Brealey and his co-accused targeted Cassius in retaliation for vandalism at Gilmore's home. The trial continues. First Nations Economics, in partnership with First Nations Foundation, has awarded the 2025 Leah Armstrong Scholarship to Angelina Hickey and Hayley Shadforth. The scholarship, designed to strengthen First Nations women's leadership in finance, governance and economic development, supports economic self-determination and community prosperity. Hickey, a proud Dunghutti woman, is pursuing a Master of Commerce at RMIT, aiming to enhance financial literacy in First Nations communities. Shadforth, a Bardi Nigana woman from the Kimberleys, is studying a Bachelor of Commerce at UWA, focusing on supporting Aboriginal-led businesses in Broome. First Nations Foundation CEO Emma Bakashni and First Nations Economics MD Rick Macott praised the recipients, emphasising the scholarship's role in fostering long-term economic empowerment. A new report following a 4-day summit in New South Wales has called for increased support for Aboriginal community-controlled services to address drug and alcohol-related issues. The report, co-chaired by Carmel Tibet and John Brogden, highlights the need for culturally safe, holistic services and trauma-informed care, especially for First Nations children and families impacted by drugs. It also recommends ceasing the use of drug detection dogs and strip searches at music festivals. Despite substantial support for decriminalising drug possession, the report did not endorse this change, reflecting the government's stance. It calls for better funded Indigenous-led prevention programs and improvements in the justice and child protection systems to reduce disproportionate harm to Aboriginal communities. Minister Ryan Park stated the government would carefully consider the findings. The Cairns Indigenous Art Fair is calling for First Nations artists and craftspeople across Queensland to participate in this year's Artisans Showcase, held at Tanks Arts Centre from July 10 to 13th. This rebranded market will offer a vibrant, ethical platform for selling authentic Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander arts and crafts, highlighting diverse cultural expressions and traditional techniques. The fair, featuring around 300 visual artists and 100 performers, includes a range of free, family-friendly events such as art exhibitions, fashion performances, cultural dance, masterclasses, and panel discussions. Cairns Indigenous Art Fair aims to support a sustainable and ethical Indigenous arts industry, fostering creativity and economic growth for First Nations communities since its inception in 2009. Supercars driver Jackson Evans, the first Pacifica driver in Australia's elite racing category, proudly displays both the New Zealand and Fiji flags on his helmet, reflecting his Pacific heritage. Born in New Zealand with family roots in Fiji, Evans' motorsport journey began at age 11 on the Gold Coast. His racing career took off when he impressed during a test drive at 17, leading to a series of wins including the 2008 Porsche Carrera Cup and the 2020 Carrera Cup France title. As he returns to Topo for his home race, Evans continues to inspire with his story, advocating for greater Pacific representation in motorsports. That's today's Daily News Roundup from the National Indigenous Times. For more news, head to nit.com.au and sign up to our free newsletter today.